10 years, Roland thought to himself. It's finally over after 10 years. I can leave. I can go home, wherever the hell that is. So many jumps, so much time in cryo, even more spent exploring and charting new pathways. But it's over now. Roland gave his berthing one more look over. His bunk was as clean as it could be, fresh sheets on the bed laid out in an inspection-ready manner, his footlocker cleaned out, and all of his worldly belongings methodically stuffed into his duffel or on his person. He didn't have much outside of what was issued to him. A few data drives that were able to be delivered before leaving his home sector, leaving his wife, a data slate with a few books in his personal journal, and an old watch that had been passed down through his family from the time of the Exodus, a relic of his great-great-great-grandfather's, a memento to the times before, and his good luck charm. With his affairs in order, his release paperwork signed, and his credit stipend issue, Roland made his way to his ship, the Photon, an older decommissioned cartography vessel built for a 4-man crew, but pilotable by one thanks to its low-level AI systems, which could handle basic subroutines and even autopilot. It was quite similar in many ways to the ship that he was used to being on in his earlier days of service, navigating and charting new pathways for the jump drives. Roland wouldn't be alone on this ship, however, and was reminded by that with the clinking metal sounds coming from inside of the Photon. Stood there in the berthing that made up the modest crew galley and bunking was Alpha, short for Alphabet, which was a recently acquired hardware from Roland's last mission before release. Alpha was one of tens of thousands of autonomous battle-designated combat droids found in a derelict autonomous carrier ship, adrift in the expanse. Presumably an orbital strike force meant for use during the Cataclysm, but ended up being lost to time. Being a scout design, Alpha had an integrated micro-pulse blaster in his right arm, as well as advanced imaging systems and a means of low-level energy replenishment systems for extended field operations time. The engineers weren't able to get all of the systems online, so much technology lost to time, but Alpha's primary systems functioned well enough and he was deemed fit for service operations. Roland, being one of the first people onto the derelict, was awarded Alpha by his commanding officer as part of his retirement package. Roland felt the familiar churning in his stomach, the feeling that early on in his career made him vomit, which meant that the E-drives were spinning down and the vessel was coming out of faster-than-light travel. That should have been the last jump. We should be near the planet now, he said, making his way into the Photon and dropping his duffel outside the captain's quarter. Alpha, what's the status on the ship? Captain, systems are operational. Galley is stocked. Emergency life support 100%. E-drives primed and ready. Roland gave an authoritative nod to the bay foreman who radioed the operations tower. The bay door began to open, the warning lights bathing the bay with its intermittent orange glow. Alpha, ready the ship for departure. It's time to find home.